there's been a lot. We've been talking a lot about the changes in the music and the evolution of it and everything. I wanted to talk about the evolution of autotune. And do we think that um, that is responsible for the lack of interest in real singers with, strong voices and deep voices? Because autotune originally was just a pitch corrector. It was just a tool used in the studio to correct, notes and things of that nature. Producers and engineers, usually with many singers, you know, with great voices or not so great voices. It was never something to camouflage the lack of vocal talent. It was something to either correct something or enhance something, but it was never used in a way it is used today.
Mm.
And I think it's kind of facilitated, you know, rappers to be able to, you know, infiltrate R&B to some degree. Because a lot of the songs I hear on the radio, I'm like, okay, but if an R&B singer was singing that, that would be a hit, wouldn't it? Like I could hear it. So what are your thoughts on
Well,
and even the talk box? Because the talk box was something I think started off too, where it was like it was technology that.
yeah, I mean, for R&B fans, Roger Trapman and Zapp was one of the pioneers for the R&B. So there's somebody else that did it, but for the R&B, he was one of the pioneers. Computer Love and I Want to Be a Man and stuff like that. So, but
Mhm.
in a sense, he was almost singing over the keys, but it wasn't. It just felt like, oh, this is a very unique type of song, but we didn't rely on that. Whenever I hear autotunes, the first person that comes to mind was J Lo. If I'm Not Your Lover, when she came
J-Lo.
out,
Oh
J Lo.
yeah.
Because we knew she was a dancer, we knew she couldn't really sing, but she had the image, and that was the first sort of autotunes. Let's use autotunes to give her voice, and that's how it really started. And it's like, oh, if worked for her, her album went double platinum, her debut album. It was like, okay, let's get our own J-Los. And that's how that copycat sort of thing. It was cheaper. We didn't have to have the Milli Vanilli scandal of get other people singing a song and coming out. So we just use her and we can just correct her vocals and stuff. So for me, it all started with, I don't say it started with her, but I think she really pushed it and really made it a
Yeah.
difference. When you
Because I
talk
remember
about,
early on it was like Cher. I remember with that song, Do You Believe in Love? And she had that
yeah,
like
but
weird
Cher could
wiggle.
sing live.
Yeah.
It was a because she was coming back. It was like a comeback stuff, and it was a techno.
Hmm.
She was big here in Europe with that track, so it was more of a sort of a Euro dance. That's how it came out.
Right.
Yeah, less so than her trying to maintain a particular voice. When you talk about hip hop, when Kanye West came out with his first album where he was singing,
Mm.
he stopped
Yeah.
rapping and it just went into this whole singing stuff. And most of us like, what was rubbish. But that's where it's sort of it was
Right.
moderately successful, and others piggybacked off of that.
And that's why I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of people blame
Future,
T-Pain. And I will give him a little blame, but I blame Kanye West more because I think the style of way autotune is used today is he's a little bit more responsible. When I hear the radio, I'm like, yeah, curse you, Kanye
yeah,
West,
because he
because
stopped
it's
rapping and he just did his own
yeah.
singing and talking, and it was like, well, and I can't remember the album. I can't remember any of the songs, but I can remember. I was trying to sing one, but I can't remember. But he did the whole
In the
all the
night, na, 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 that
yeah,
heartless
yeah, yeah,
song.
yeah.
And
He,
it's just so many of those
yeah,
songs.
there was so many. Yeah,
And
yeah. I think T Pain
that's
was very much like a vocoder. He did the vocoder,
mm,
and and he was doing a version of the top box, but a vocoder version. So, um, um, almost like what because he was very heavily influenced with Little John, and Little John
yeah.
didn't just use his voice, and T Pain just said, "Well, I'll use a sort of vocoder in the background as I'm saying," but he wasn't. He could sing when he doesn't. He can sing naturally,
Right.
but it was a way of being distinctive. So almost like how Teddy and stuff. So he wasn't
Right.
he wasn't like Future. He wasn't like them those guys um who sort of singing mumble rap kind of thing. That's not
Right. Right. And I
T-Pain
think
wasn't.
Jay Z actually solidified him as being the blame, and that's what goes to show you, like, how influences the masses, because on average people will blame T-Pain, but I personally, I'm glad you brought up Kanye West, because I think Kanye West is more responsible for rappers feeling comfortable singing, because it's like, now as an audience, the problem that's happened, I don't have a problem with this segment of people that do this, but there's no room for actual singers no more, and the standard for vocals has been lowered. Now we no longer, I've seen people um hear a song that was originally by one of these rappers, or these auto-tuned rappers that sing now. I'll go to YouTube because I like to, like, see covers of these songs,
Mm,
and a real singer will be presenting them, and I'll go to the comment section and I'll read the comments, and there's some positive stuff in there, but then there'll be those people like, oh, they're doing too much, the song doesn't do that. No, this is how singers sing. They interpret things differently, and they
mm.
might do a jazz riff, they might do, they might just sing it a little bit more powerfully, and when the younger audience hears it, it's like, why are they singing it like that? It's like, that's the way it's supposed to be saying. These people with these machines and this technology, it I don't know. It's really weird. It's kind of a scary place, because um I think it's kind of diminished the art of singing a little bit. I don't know where I was
Yeah,
going
I
with
mean,
that.
where it gets found out is when they perform live. Um, there's so many new
Yeah.
artists, that rap artists I can't remember. Maybe Rap Star Baby, or I can't, there's so many of them. But
But a lot of them are like lip syncing. Like, I have literally seen the Migos live recently, and they're lip syncing. Like,
yeah, so that's what I was going to
and it.
get to. Yeah, there was CNN did a concert. Not CNN, but it was Clive Davis did a concert in Central Park
Hmm.
a couple of months ago. But it was cut short just because of the hurricane, some tornadoes coming in. But there was this hips. I think it's Rockstar. The song rap song is called Rockstar.
Oh
Um,
yeah, okay, I know what you're talking about.
I don't know
Is
the
this
name of the
one with
guy.
the baby or Post Malone?
No, but it's one of these rappers. He's
Okay.
yeah, he was one of those types of tracks that he was performing, but the music he wasn't even singing live. So everyone was on
Mm,
stage singing live. Earth, Wind and Fire were there. Everyone was performing. When he
right,
came
right,
out,
right.
he was the backing tracks, the tracks, and his vocals
Wait,
over the
who's
track.
performing? Who's performing?
This hip hop guy, something
Oh,
maybe
okay.
rock baby or rock star. Or I can't remember what
Okay.
the name.
So
I mean,
everyone else is singing live and he's lip
but
syncing.
he was lip singing to his own hip hop track, and I'm thinking, what? Now, LL Cool J came out with some of with people, and they were performing, but these were old school. Even Buster was there. He was singing live. But when this guy came out, very similar to how Future and all these people, he couldn't sing it. He couldn't rap live. He had to use the tracks because it wouldn't sound the same. He it couldn't. It couldn't.
Isn't that crazy and insane?
Yeah.
So you mean to tell me you can't talk the same way
Yeah.
you have a microphone, and most rapping is just talking. You
Yeah.
can't
No.
talk in the same key that you talked on the record.
Yeah,
Is
yeah, because it
insanity.
wouldn't have never been the same because you can't sing you can't flow with the same consistency live as was there. It's very similar to say somebody like back in the day Janet or some of these other pop acts would have a new single and they don't want to mess it up, so they'll play it live, play the track, and they'll just be miming as they dance. A lot of pop, and that's what these hip hop people are doing. So it's yeah. So as I said, I think it's there's a part of me that wonders how much, because when I interviewed Tabitha from Cut Close, she was saying that when they were recording their second album, Missy only took Anthea to do the lead and backing vocals. It's almost like it was quicker. Let's just use you. We can do multiple relays so it sounds the same. We don't necessarily need the group. Almost as if it's easier to say, okay, you just sing it once, that's fine. I'll tidy it up. You've just given me enough to fix it up, and we can go. Same thing what they did with
Right.
the Michael Jackson post albums, where they just said, okay, we got some raw vocals. We'll tidy it up and make it sound great. I think technology has its place, and technology is great. But one of the things Jay King has said in a previous interview I saw, he says that um, R&B suffered when we stopped using musicians to make records, and when we
I've made this
started to
point before.
program music, that's when R&B suffered, because there was no innovation, no creativity, and you just like,
Right.
well, what do I sample to make the stuff? And the people who used to be there in the 50s and 60s, all session musicians coming up with the keys and everything, would take the
Right.
just not been involved. So
And I've made that comment before, especially in the comment section, that I do believe when we put down the keyboards and the guitars, and we started picking up the MPCs and the electronics, this and that and the other, that's where it got lost. And I think that's why I keep saying over and over again that R&B has to go back to being underground. I think that we need to make playing instruments cool again, or not we, but the young people. The young
mhm,
people have to discover instruments again and start fiddling with them and start coming up with new things. And I am starting to see that, because I do see it, which I highlighted on my Instagram. There are some young people that are out that are playing instruments again and are creating, and they do have appreciation for the music of yesteryear. And I think
mm,
that inspires them to say, you know what, I don't. What actually in this day and age, I don't have that competition. I basically can stand out by being a musician or instrument. I can play my instrument or whatever. I don't have to have auto tune. Like the very thing that was like the norm before has now
mm,
made some of these artists stand out. So
mm,
hopefully we can get back to that. But I do think technology was a gift and a curse to us. It's made it very easy to just cut and paste and tweak and you know put a certain effect or plug in on something and it sounds a certain way, as opposed to natural performances. Because now we've gotten so used to voices sounding so unnatural.
mm.
It's become standard, and it's like now we have to meet this unnatural standard. And what does that say about where we are in music, that
Yeah,
the unnatural is now standard? So
yeah. When you talk about autotunes, what killed our R&B was when the industry just went and became producer led. Okay, Timbaland,
right,
give
I
this
will
guy
give
a
you that.
hit. Neptune, give this person a hit. Um, who else? Swiss, JD, just give this person a hit. And it was like, well, Ray J sounding exactly like Justin Timberlake, who's sounding
Right.
exactly like Usher, sounding exactly. So what's this difference? They're singing
Yeah.
the same Pharrell produced track that sounds exactly the same.
Yeah.
Why am
When
I?
we started chasing sounds and making the producers
Yeah,
stars themselves, we got away from the music. It just became about, it's almost like you're putting on a brand of somebody. Like you go to Timberland, everybody sound like Timberland.
yeah,
There was no more individuality anymore.
yeah,
Everything had to sound like Timberland, or had to sound like, for the
yeah.
Neptunes. Is
And
Yeah. So
I do wonder whether when A. Marie, when she got Jay-Z to do a remix for her, I can't remember, on one of her second album, and after he helped do the remix of her second album, the next minute Beyonce gets the Beyonce gets Rich Harris to come produce her Dangerous in Love album, and takes the A. Marie sound, and it has a lot more money, and they're both on the same label at Sony, and all of a sudden A. Marie sort of doesn't has to go to other people to try and get the sound, doesn't get the same promotion and marketing, and falls off, while Beyonce just blows up. And you wonder
yeah,
how
it sucks for her.
how she
It
just took
sucks
his
for
sound, and then they just didn't push. Then she just got almost like there was a power play between Beyonce's dad and Jay-Z about, look, this is the direction. We need this sound and we need the budget to push her over A. Marie. And A. Marie
Right.
just, she had her own lane. No one, she didn't try and copy everyone. It was taken away from her and stuff. So, yeah,
But
you're
these are
talking.
the business practices the general public does not. I mean, now we know because it's storied now. But now these are the things that go on. This is how cutthroat the industry is. And it's a good thing that Beyonce did do that because that was her hit. That was the thing that kept her going on her solo career. Like, I think that, some things are, I won't say necessary evils, but it is what it is. I think that unfortunately for Anne Marie, um, she wasn't bigger than the sound that was created for her, unfortunately. I feel like I don't want to, I love Anne Marie. I have her albums, but
Mm.
she never was able to recapture that magic that Rich Harrison and her had on her own. And so, that's the problem. I remember Brandy when she kind of had a slight fallout with Rodney Jerkins when because he did most of her production.
Yeah.
And she would start to get mad because he was giving her sound, well, it technically was his sound that he created for her
Mm.
on to J Lo and on to other artists,
Destiny's Child. Yeah, he was giving it that.
and
Yeah.
right, and so they had a little fallout. She went off to Timbaland, but Timbaland he was known for Aaliyah, so that's where she kind of got lost in the shuffle. You have to be careful that you're not so married to a certain thing that if you don't have that, you can't survive outside of it. And I think that unfortunately with Anne Marie, she is talented. I do like her, and I think she's a beautiful woman. I just think that sound, to me personally, I prefer it on Anne Marie. But unfortunately, she was not bigger than that sound. Just like with
But she was
Changing
signed to
Places and
Rich
R.
Harris, so
Kelly.
she was signed to him. It wasn't
That's
as
what's
if.
crazy about
Yeah,
it.
she wasn't. She didn't go, because I remember when I was working at Edmunds Entertainment, the the president of the record label had a
Tracy.
production deal with Sony, um,
Hmm.
and he and Rich Harris had a label, and they signed. So I remember Avery coming in before she came out, and every day he'll be playing "Why Don't We Fall in Love," and he's
Mm.
promoting Third Story, but he's playing that track every time he comes into the office. So it was a sound that they created, and this is our protege. It's almost like Jermaine
Yeah.
Dupri signs the Brat. That's how it is, and then instead of focusing on the Brat, he goes and gives the sound to Little Kim, and then just discards her. That's what they did. So it wasn't. But I think after the success of the first album, she was able to renegotiate and go sign directly with Sony.
Mm.
But then the whole what the word in the street was that Beyonce poached Rich Harris, offered him more money and a lot more sway, almost pretty much as a, whether either you take it or whatever you do on her track is not going to go out kind of thing, where he just had
Hmm.
to abandon her and go. And then I think Teddy did a track for her, and she had other places that did tracks, but it's not only the music, but it was the promotion. I don't think she got the
Yeah.
same
I
promotion.
think she also had a fallout with Rich, I think. I don't know if it was maybe because of that situation, but I think they had kind of a split too, where they weren't creatively working together. Because on that second album, she worked with other producers, which was strange because the first album, Rich produced the whole thing. And
Yeah,
that
give us a
sound that he created with her was just so different and unique at that time.
yeah, the whole
It was
go-go, the
so
whole
good.
DC go-go stuff, which was.
Yeah.
But it was, as I said, it was as I said, the industry talk is very much. Beyonce saw it; she was about to come out with her stuff, and you can't have. She didn't. She can't have the two. So look, you best come out, start working on mine, so it doesn't go well, and we back us. But anyway,
Hmm.
I know Beyonce and Jay-Z probably won't want to be on our show anytime soon. So this might this might have put, they might have said, "Oh, so you're talking about
Well,
us like that." So